Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4! And today spawning in on the West Island map playing in red, we've got loueMT, playing as the Jeanne faction. And his adversary today, his enemy, battling out against him, spawning in the southeast in blue. We've got Anotand, playing as the Rus. Welcome everyone to Dry Arabia. As always, ladies and gents, good morning, maybe good afternoon, and possibly a good evening. Of course, all very dependent on when you're watching this game. A very diverse, multicultural community we have here. And that's a great thing. Two civilizations going toe-to-toe, essentially the French and the Rus. We are going to be in for a banger. Both cavalry-based civilizations. So expect to see a lot of horses, a lot of cavalry units on the field today. So high mobility, high octane. And it's on Dry Arabia, of all maps. Very open. I'm very curious to see how this one pans out. Now, resource-wise, both, I guess the map is relatively similar. You've got two wood lines, both players relatively evenly spaced out. One close to home, one further forward for both players as it happens. And the golds, the two tiles that are 8,000 gold veins, one in the north, one in the south, again, relatively equidistant. And we really do have to talk about gold, right? Because especially when you think about knights, you think about your gold income. Now the Rus, their gold is relatively on the side, and a similar sort of pattern here for loueMT and the Jeanne d'Arc faction. Nothing to write home about in terms of map spawn generally at this point, I don't think, but time will tell. Now, I'm kind of curious to see what the Rus will opt for. We have been seeing a lot of two-town center into, well, Kremlin into two-town center play. The Kremlin offering that measure of security, that safety, with the Kremlin gremlins. But actually, we've seen a lot of fast castling as well recently. I'm pretty excited because on a match like this against Jeanne, where you kind of need to have a bit of presence early, second town center might be a bit risky. To be fair, the economy for the Rus is so strong, they can usually get away with it and still pump out units in the feudal age. Now on the other side of the map, it's going to be the Chamber of Commerce, and we have definitely got to talk about this. Oh, what? It's the Golden Gate, so it's no Kremlin today. Maybe you could still go for a second town center, to be fair. There was an old build style where you could actually purchase the stone using the tickets from the Golden Gate, but it could also be a fast castle. We'd probably expect to see villagers on gold for a fast castle, but we'll have to see. Possibly waiting though, because he knows that loueMT scout's there. So if he was looking to maybe get to a castle age, he probably would wait for that scout to disappear and then move out to the gold. Either way, what I really want to talk about and focus on is the Chamber of Commerce. There's a lot to talk about here. And the reason being is that actually, I am a really big fan of trade. And I think this is going to be the acid test of this build style. The reason why is because, going up against the Rus are high mobility, it's a civilization that can punish trade very easily. And so this is the acid test, really. If Jeanne can pull this off, it proves that trade is just overpowered. Now, we have to take it with a pinch of salt. It's not just any civilization that are doing trade at the moment. It is Jeanne. It is the French. The reason why that's so significant is, well, the Chamber of Commerce is, well, it's a specialized building for trade. What it allows is it allows that the faction to, whenever they research technologies, which are cheaper incidentally, whether it be horticulture, you name it, whatever they research, it's cheaper, but more importantly, they get a free trader out of it. And that free trader is obviously a free economy. But the bigger thing that I really want to discuss is that yes, trade is great, but the fact that it scales so quickly is what's really important. If you think about getting a second town center, it's a big resource investment. For the Rus, for example, a resource investment of 400 wood and 350 stone is needed for a second town center. That takes a long time to gather it, and then you have to build the thing. And then you have to spend the food on the villagers. On the other hand, well, first of all, the Chamber of Commerce is such that it's already been built, but even if it wasn't, say this wasn't the French, the market is incredibly cheap. It's only 100 wood. So a very low barrier to entry to this form of economic advantage. Of course as well, you can build multiple markets and just spam out these traders. They also make a very quick return on investment. 61 gold, but wait, he's going right across the map, which is incredibly dangerous. But he's going to do it anyway. He's keeping an eye out, keeping the scout close by just to make sure it's safe to do. Having said all this, we might be falling into the trap to say, well, other civilizations don't have flexibility with trade because you just gather gold. And there's a big reason why I said other civilizations, because Jeanne is not like other civilizations. The French aren't either. The traders, they can swap between gathering gold, food, or wood. Now this is of course unique to the French and Jeanne, but it's incredibly important. Because of course just getting gold itself is one resource out of many that you'll need. Bear in mind the French and Jeanne are very food hungry, and a farming transition is not what they need. Bear in mind, going for trade does mean that you're going to have less units on the field. No night out yet just for the French, or Jeanne I should say. And that means a lot of staying at home. There's not much map mobility, not much map presence, and that means taking the deer camp is incredibly tough. One way to solve for that is to get professional scouts, which is cheaper to be fair, so that is an option. But generally getting food is tricky when you're trading, unless you toggle on to food. That's always possible. The great thing as well is you can micromanage this. You can have some traders on food. Look at that! He's on food. He's getting 61 food as we speak. And that's what's so important, what's so great about the Jeanne d'Arc faction and trade. Now the Rus pushing in the deer camp, and that's going to be great amounts of food coming in for him as well, for Anotand. And it looks like the crazy thing about this is that actually Anotand is opting for the castle age without actually mining any gold. That's the crazy intense thing here. He could always just use the golden gate, which is exactly what he's doing. Of course, loueMT, his trade has been found. Anotand is aware of this, and so going for the castle age is kind of an interesting choice. He has got a knight or two on the field. Well, actually, I said castle age, maybe not. I think I jumped the gun a bit there. It might be that late. It's a kind of a weird thing, really, because Anotand is floating a lot of gold. You'd expect that if he is going heavy on the knights, that he would actually be pumping out them. But no, he's steadily going for the castle age. But he wants a couple of knights just to harass and destroy some of these traders. Meanwhile, and he will get a couple for sure, meanwhile, loueMT is starting to wall up, but bear in mind, this match is played on the public update preview. The most recent patch, the public, well, yeah, the update preview, as the pup suggests. But it is a sneak peek into the future of Age of Empires 4, of what beholds and what awaits us for Season 9. And in this patch, the villagers, they build these palisades a lot slower. In fact, doubly slow. Well, yeah, it takes twice as long would you believe. So 4 seconds for one segment of a palisade wall is what it used to be. Now it's 8 seconds. So there's the first villager, there's the first blood going down in terms of the villagers at least. He did kill 2 traders before this. So Anotand has done some good damage. And the nerf to the palisade building, it really hits hard because not only does it leave you more vulnerable, those villagers outside, it's harder to actually secure the full walls. Because bear in mind, having partial walls built is not all that helpful. And second of all, and third of all, really, is that the villagers being out there for longer means less gathering, right? Because they're just too busy building. It's going to be the high trade house at a very decent time. Almost 9 minutes, I think, on the clock will be there before he gets there, roughly. And I'm kind of curious to the build, right? Because Knights doesn't really offer too much more in terms of what he already has. But it looks like it's going to be Horse Archers. You can see the double archery range being placed there. Nice transition. And it will be tricky now for loueMT to deal with that. And the smart thing about this situation is that Anotand has committed enough to Knights to force Louis into Knights himself. But little does Louis know, his enemy is going for Horse Archers in the long term. So as a brief rundown on trade and why I think it's absolutely bonkers and broken, but of course, we'll have to see exactly how it pans out today. I genuinely think trade is something that's overlooked, and sure we see the Chamber of Commerce acting as a bit of a meme, kind of a strategy that people think, well, yeah, it's a bit of a joke, but actually, I think it can work quite well. Even on maps like Dry Arabia, loueMT is looking to make it work. Of course, I might just be eating my own words, who knows? Before too long, you never know. Now, I like the fact that he went for the high trade house, right? Because there's not really much pressure on the map, and therefore it doesn't really need to rush to the relics. Anotand will probably get the relics in the end, but he doesn't need to forego this high trade house and the advantages it brings just for that slightly advantageous timing on picking up the relics, because he's not really in a rush for it, because it's quite likely he's going to get them anyway. Now, the gold coming in, 69 gold for the traders that have been established. Obviously gone for a bit more of a sensible trade route now. But yeah, it's quite well walled up as it happens. He's actually made it work, and despite how long it takes to make the palisade walls. Now, speaking of palisade walls, you might be wondering, what about the Rus? They get palisade walls. Is it the same? Previously they were building their palisade walls in 3 seconds. rather than the usual 4 for other civilizations. Well, unfortunately, the Rus have had a bit of a nerf there. It's now a global 8 seconds, regardless of the civilization you're playing as. So the Rus, whilst their palisade walls are a lot tougher, they take just as long as the other civilizations to build. But bear in mind, all these upgrades that are coming in for loueMT, he gets a free trader. It's really nice for that civilization. Now, as the action heats up, I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Of course, special shout out to the YouTube channel members, Twitch subscribers, and the YouTube super thankers. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And well, Jeanne still actually as a hunter, would you believe? Because she's not really seen all that much action. Not so much on the fault of the Rus. It's more that loueMT is playing this very conservatively. But he is going to break through now, and the unit number is starting to climb significantly. 19 military units for Anotand. Now that he's in the car stage, he's going to be feeling good about the situation and being attacking. He's taking the fight. Now, loueMT's knights are still in the feud lane. It's got to be tricky trying to focus fire on Jeanne. I'm sure she'll get out of there, right? Surely. She might go, Divine Restoration saves her for now. Charge comes on up, but there's not enough there to save her. She will perish, but the knights are charging on in. Getting some critical damage on these knights and horse archers picks off a lot as it happens. And trade is still intact. We have to back away for now, though. loueMT will be thinking about going to the car stage at some point if he can. He has suffered some losses on the way. So it's going to be a bit more delayed than perhaps he would have liked. Now the Rus, have they got a monastery? There it is. There is that monastery. Going to be getting those warrior scouts and look to pick up a relic or two. But this is where things are a bit dangerous, right? Anotand has broken through, and now the horse archers will start to pick off some traders. This is where it becomes a little bit dangerous for loueMT, because he needs to secure this side, and it's very purposeful that Anotand chose the left side, because this is where the neutral trade post is. This is where Anotand needs to deny the trade. Although the sneaky villager coming out to wall that in, that's actually really significant. That buys a lot of time. It isolates this handful of horse archers, keeps them exposed. Now, consecration has come on in for that stable, so we'll reduce the cost of these knights. In fact, for all 3 stables. Kind of curious who's going for this approach, because the horse archers can kite. Of course, he's just going to try and brute force his way through here, and chargers come on out. He should land the chargers. Should get 1 horse archer at least with the chargers. There it goes. Here comes the reinforcements, but not enough to really escape with this. Splits them off, and still focus on the 4 that on the west side. But you know what? The traders have, they've had to stop for now, right? There they are. A couple waiting patiently to get their trips on going again. Bear in mind, balanced projectiles has come on in. The second range attack for the Rus makes these horse archers even more potent. It will be the Royal Institute, which is kind of a curious decision. I mean, it makes sense really, because the guild hall, the really big use of it is resources, gold or food. But you know what? When you've got trade like this, you can toggle between food and gold. As long as you can keep the trade open and alive, then you don't really need the gold or the food or the wood, as it happens, for the guild hall. Of course, stone could come in useful, but the Royal Institute, of course, allows for some really good tech ups, some good upgrades for these knights. Bloodlines being one of them, of course. It's something we expect to see before too long. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cantle saddles a little bit earlier, though, because what the benefit of Cantle saddles really is about the charge. And of course, catching up to the horse archers is tricky. And so when you do get off the charges, that can do a lot more damage potential, but maybe Bloodlines will give him the extra HP that he wants. Either way, he's going to go for the veterancy first. No real surprises there, but relics coming in thick and fast for the Rus, and being able to take out the pocket economies, the boar coming on in, the food economy, looking very strong for the Rus. One thing to bear in mind is another thing where I think that trade is incredibly strong, if it's running, which it isn't right now, to be fair. I mean, Anotand's done a great job of denying it for now. Is that farming transitions is a thing. And when we talk about farming transitions, there are smooth ones, there are hard ones, and in many ways and often, the Rus have a very hard farming transition, right? Because they have to rely on the pocket economies, rely on the deer, the boar. Once that runs out, then that's it. Their steam runs out. They have to get wood. They have to place down those farms. Now, granted, they do have some really good wood bonuses. The extra chopping because of the wooden fortress drops off 20% more wood. It's very nice. But it's a very heavy wood investment for those farms. Jeanne is the same, unless you have trade. Because trade can toggle to food. It's a very versatile as it happens. I think A lot of people overlook trade because of the perceived lack of versatility of the resources you're gathering, right? Because a villager, you can task them to go to any resource. Technically, so you can with trade as well, at least with Jeanne and the French. Now, granted, it is for different. It's not the same for other civilizations, of course. Raw Bloodlines will be coming in soon, and whilst Anotand has done a lot of damage, it's killed quite a few economical units, 12 in total. The trade is still now up and running, and lovely sneaky play by that, actually. I love the way he did that. He waited for the horse archers to go to the right side. Now, granted, a couple of horse archers are coming on the west side now, looking to do some damage. And Louis going to have to address that. Four horse archers doesn't seem like a lot, but it's enough to do some damage. Villagers, though, so many of them idled. This is a problem, actually. He's going to lose quite a few. He might try and quick wall between the two woodlines. I mean, even if he does, he's going to lose a couple, though, for sure. And he will lose a couple. This is a bit painful. loueMT, his village account, economic account, is starting to really plummet. Lost 17 units so far. It still puts him neck and neck with the Rus. Now, granted, the Rus have some advantages. They've got the high trade house and got the hunting cabins as well. This one knight can do a lot of damage, of course. Picks off one horse archer and does a lot of damage to the others too. The traders, though, they continue their journey. Understandably so. He wants to make the trips. He needs the resources. I love the fact that Anotand is walling up himself. You might be wondering, why is he doing that? He's the one being aggressive. You don't want to risk it. The knights are mobile for the French or Jeanne, and she could always wrap around with a couple to raid. But what the walls at home allow the Rus to do is just to venture out like this and just focus on the front lines. The chargers come on in and clear out the remaining horse archers, most likely. Might try and escape there, but I don't think there is any escape, as he circumvents that sacred site, takes them out. So trade is up and running again, and relatively safe and secure. And for the first time, loueMT is making himself on the map. This is where it becomes very tricky. I think a lot more knights are going to be needed here for Anotand. He's done significant damage, but I wonder if he's going to add in more town centers himself. It doesn't seem like it. That could be a playstyle for him, actually, because whilst he's done damage on the eco side of things, he needs to scale his own eco. And that's the greatness of trade. Adding in Jeanne's riders is really nice here. That'll do really a lot of damage against these horse archers, actually, as it happens. They are a unit with 260 HP. Of course, not quite as much as a Royal Knight, but they are significantly cheaper. He's taking the engagement, quite a few of those knights from the Rus, but coming in from the west side, loueMT might get a pincer action on the horse archers on the back line, and that could be huge if he wins this fight, but there are lots of numbers here for Anotand, overwhelmingly so, and a lot of horse archers are being microed back, but look at that, Jeanne's riders barely taking any damage. In the end, though, fighting underneath the wooden fortress is not ideal, and loueMT is probably going to lose the most of his knights. He won't necessarily mind it too much. He probably feels like, okay, I traded a bit, but my eco is strong. Little does he know, from a bird's eye perspective, his economy is not that much stronger than the Rus, if at all, actually. Might snap off a couple of knights on the retreat. The Rus will be pretty happy with that engagement. Now, of course, Boyar's Fortitude is in play for the Rus, giving them extra HP on their cavalry units. Applies to the horse archers and the knights alike. I wonder if Louis has actually stopped producing traders. It looks like it. Oh no, take it back. He's producing from the Chamber of Commerce there, as we can see. Looks like Anotand, though, looking to do some more damage, and why not with this number of units? He's looking in a good position to do so. I wonder if we see any farms. Not just yet. So that might hit him hard later on in the game. Gonna bring a couple of units north, and the knights will charge that way for sure. Trying to get the lay of the lands at Anotand. Did activate the sacred site. I kind of wonder if the Rus will look to go for that, because there's a decent amount of gold trickle from it. And he does have warrior monks on the field, but they're looking to be aggressive, joining the army ready for the main fights as it happens at the moment. Ooh, knight around the back. This could be dangerous. He'll get maybe a villager out of this, or good body block there by loueMT to make sure that the villager survives. Actually, nice play. Not for the first time. He's harassing that trade. He's knocking at the door here, Anotand, but might need to knock harder. Now, the bigger thing to think about at this stage of the game, which is one of the reasons why I love trade, is that whilst Anotand, he's going to need a farming transition before too long, I don't think you can say the same for Louis. A lot of his traders are likely to be on food. And that one's on gold. That one's on gold. That one's on gold. I'm sure there's one or two, surely. There we go. There we go. There's a couple on food. Anotand, he's diving in now. Wants to do more eco damage. Oh, that's so much idle time. That's a lot of villagers, guys. Holy moly. There is a gate there, so the knights won't be able to make too much of it. Speaking of knights, they're coming in for Louis, and that's a lot of knights. I mean, that's a decent front line for Anotand. I'm not so sure it's enough, and the bigger thing is defender's advantage here, of course, for Louis, but there's a good number of horse archers. In fact, that's a large number of horse archers. Divine Restoration comes out for Jeanne to make them survive a bit longer. This is a tough one. There's not enough knights there for the Rus. They're getting cleared up, and that's the big difference maker, right? Horse archers are doing great, but they can't just stand and fight like this. They need a meat shield. They need a front line. And they had one, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye, and the remaining knights are chasing. But this is a sizable number of horse archers. They can still do a lot of damage. He's trying to stem the bleeding, the point of entry with knights. Anotand, though, he's going to keep running and pick off some knights if he can. Every time he turns and shoots, he will get picked apart. There's a couple more of these traders to get, and he will get them. But down into the main entrance where they were coming from, the walls are going up again. loueMT stemming the bleeding. But this is going to be a lot of traders about to go down. Horse archers, though, they are not mobile at this point. They're getting chopped to pieces. But even still, he's trading well. He's killing a lot of workers. Killed 32 worker units, or eco units in total. Fantastic job here for Anotand to limit the economy booming, but this is the battle of trade. He's only 8 eco units behind, despite losing 35 more throughout the game. Now, the Rus have secured 4 out of the 5 relics. The other one, of course, behind the palisades. And he's got 2 of the sacred sites, so he should have gold coming out of his ears, which he does. Almost 2,000 gold coming per minute. But the horse archers now really starting to be low on numbers. And all of a sudden, again, Jeanne is moving out, putting pressure on the map. Let's take a look at the food situation. It's actually not looking too good for the Rus, and this is at a bad time, because it means it's going to need a farming transition. You can see the wood being banked up for it. It's going to plonk down a second town centre to catch up. And this is rough, right? Because you're already short on food, and now you need to sustain a second town centre production of villagers, as well as your army. The Rus can't afford to lose the standing army he's got, because it's going to be hard to replace. Of course, granted, he did do a lot of damage with the horse archers, so that gives him a bit of hope in this scenario. But loueMT's starting to break out a little bit. He's on the sacred sites and could potentially get them for himself. There's 1 relic and 1 sacred site here in the north that he hasn't gotten so far. He's all cleared up at the back. Now, speaking of trade, the active trade is going to generate 1 gold every 6 seconds. He's really committing to it. Why not? Well, the great thing for Louis at this situation, with his knights here on the front lines, he can force Anotand to stay at home. That keeps his trade nice and safe and protected. He's going to try and pick off what he can here, Louis. The charge doesn't quite get off. That second town centre, it's going to be hard to run and keep operational. Looks like Louis might be thinking about diving here. This could be painful for Anotand. Doesn't really have too many units just here. Where are they? In fact, they're kind of caught on a little bit on the left side. They will be coming in, but would it be too little too late? I mean, he's going to dive in now. He hasn't lost too much. He's got a bit of idle time, but I think loueMT just pulls out of here. No need to rush into anything, especially with defender's advantage, right? There are knights popping out left, right, and center. So no real reason to engage. Might charge on in, gets the charge attack. Don't forget with candled saddles, puts him in a good spot with the charge attack. Now the Rus back away. Has he added? Yeah, he has added in more markets, and he's going full trade now. He is scaling that economy quick time. Much more than the Rus possibly ever could. And despite losing 40 eco units, loueMT now is ahead by 4. He continues the walling up, and this is the power of the trade, right? It almost feels like you're always having to deny it as much as possible. And sometimes it's just not enough. And despite the damage Anotand has done, it almost feels like it's not enough. The knights might clash here. A couple of knights going north for Anotand. This is the thing. Anotand's trying to break out, but loueMT forcing him to potentially reconsider once he does see this on his minimap. Gets the attack notification, and Anotand, he backs away again. He comes right back because he does not want these knights to break through into his base. Because bear in mind, you know, the palisades for the French or Jeanne denies these knights breaking on quickly. Gives them a bit of a lead time to do damage if it is a base trade. A couple knights diving on in. Horse archers ready on the west side. Knights chasing though for the ruse. And he will be suffering some damage here, loueMT, but as long as he doesn't lose the knights outright, chivalry will heal them up. Speaking of which, he will lose one at least. There we go. He's picking off some reinforcements, and Anotand really has to deal with this. But the thing is, whilst Anotand is chasing, loueMT is banking up gold, food, anything he wants with those traders. 26 minutes on the clock, and it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse at the moment. Trying to build up those palisades, but they don't come up particularly quickly. Those villagers could be very exposed. They do have to run away. Yeah, he's got to keep on the west side. He does have to secure the gold, of course, in the 8,000 tile. And this is the thing, right? The Rus have to still play onto the map for the gold that they want. Jeanne, on the other hand, has got trade coming on in. There's such a cleaner way to get food, right? You're making traders anyway. Don't need to make farms. Just get the food from the trade. But has he actually made a single farm? Can you believe this? 26 minutes into the game, 27 almost, and not a single farm for Jeanne. It's crazy to think about. That's a lot of knights. They're starting to really climb up in numbers. And look at the resources there for Louis. He is banking up so much food. Without a single farm, would you believe? Without a single farm. Sure, he's got some deer camps coming on in. To be fair, that's quite a lot. But the trade is looking so good for him. He's going to try and torch down this. I mean, there's no boiling oil, so why not? He's going to torch this down massively. The village is coming out to repair. He's going to spend that stone. The army is coming at some point, maybe. There we go. Good number of crossbow added to the army composition for the Rus. Doesn't feel like it's going to be close enough. The keep goes down here. There's just way too many knights. Sure, there's going to be some repairs, but the knights might even go for the villagers, and if they do, it's going to be an absolute slaughter now. Bear in mind, you might be wondering, there could be a surround, but not once the keep goes down. Once the keep goes down, that frees up a lot of space for these knights to escape. There they go. There they run. And Divine Restoration gives them a massive boost of healing. And he takes down the keep. He denies this gold, at least for now, or at least makes it... Yeah, I mean, he's killed so many villagers behind all of this. Guess what? loueMT, he is going to the Imperial Age, which is huge because the Red Palace, it gives high damage arbalest emplacements to all the keeps and all the town centers. And the reason why that's so significant is that the Rus can't dive in the bases too easily. If they do, they get shredded. And all Louis has to do at this moment is just keep riding around until he gets those all-important upgrades, which I'm sure he will. Although Knights on the west side is going to lose a couple. Crossbows getting good value, but still just not enough, right? He's got like 16 crossbows, not enough to one-shot a knight just yet. He turns around and fight, but loueMT's economy looking really strong. And there's that Imperial Age, and the time is ticking. Anotand has to do damage, and guess what? Anotand, there's no way he's getting to the Imperial Age anytime soon. This is a big problem for him, because if he commits to the Imperial Age, he has to stop producing knights. If he stops producing knights and loueMT trades his army, he's going to be left with nothing remaining here, the Rus. Trying to get a forward keep, he's trying to deny gold, but he needs an entry point to the trade. That's the big problem here. And he's not going to get the keep up. Oh, this could be a massacre with these villagers. Knights circling around. The Imperial Age upgrade coming in really shortly. It's not going to be long. 30 seconds. And once that kicks in, it's going to be curtains. It's going to be really hard to deal with. A couple of knights down the south. He's chasing though. loueMT's knight numbers actually not looking too hot though. Only 40 or so. Unit numbers for Anotand looking great. But he's running into a bit of a trouble there with those knights. Oh, he's looking a bit sloppy from Louis. Doesn't have that many units before the tech up. We can get there now though, and it will make a world of a difference. Currently 322 HP, 26 base damage. That's all about to change with the elite upgrade coming on in. Look at that, 378 HP, 31 melee damage. He turns around and fights, and in fact he doesn't really have to. The GG gets called. Anotand, he taps out. He knows he's never going to get to the Imperial Age, and this is proof that trade is absolutely bonkers. Now I hope you guys enjoyed this casted game. If you did, you're definitely going to want to watch the next one. It was an absolute banger on the public update preview. I'll leave an end card on your screen right now. Take care, and see you next time.